So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Real Talk with Saieed Ali. I am your host Saieed. We do want to thank you for joining us tonight, viewers. Remember, we are live on Synergy Network Monday to Friday, with a rerun the next day from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Remember that. We are also on Facebook. It's Real Talk with Saieed Ali on Facebook. So like and share, viewers. On YouTube, it's TT Real Talk. Subscribe, hit the bell, and you will know when we go live. So Trinidad and Tobago, the wait is almost over for close to 18,000 students who sat this year's secondary entrance assessment, that is the SEA exam. The Ministry of Education has announced that the SEA 2025 result will be available online 11 p.m. on Thursday, July 3rd via the SEA portal at seeresults.moe.gov.tt. Remember that, viewers? The ministry confirmed that hard copies will not be distributed as they are not required for the secondary school registration process. To access and download the SEA result via the ministry online portal, parents will need the student date of birth, the student number, and admission number, all of which can be found on the SEA admission slip. So parents, remember that. You can go online to see results, that is searesults.moe.gov.tt. Remember that. All you need is the student birth date, the student number, and the admission number. And you can check it online, viewers, to see the results of your kid. Also, before we go into anything tonight, viewers, remember, Real Talk Financing is giving you 5% on a fixed deposit. Now, the good thing about this fixed deposit, viewers, is that you're going to be getting your interest up front. Remember that. We are the only financial institution in Trinidad and Tobago that is giving you 5% on our fixed deposit for 5 years and your interest up front. Remember that. We are the only financial institution that is doing that in Trinidad and Tobago. So updates. Schools in Trinidad will be dismissed at 11:30 a.m. to facilitate the official visit of India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday, July 3rd. This was announced in a memorandum today from the Chief Education Officer to principals, administrators, and ECCE primary and secondary schools. These measures will assist in reducing the traffic volume on the Churchill Roosevelt Highway, the Uriah Butler, and the Sir Solomon Hochoy Highway, as well as other major roads, thereby minimizing traffic congestion. Government has also given a first look at the itinerary of the India Prime Minister. He will later attend a community display event at the National Cycling Velodrome in Couva on 3rd July. On 4th July, Modi's schedule include a courtesy call with President Christine Kangaloo at the office of the President after which he will deliver an address to a joint sitting of Parliament. He will also visit RAPS with a ceremonial exchange of memorandum of understanding and a symbolic tree planting at the Parliamentary complex. So Trinidad and Tobago sounds like here he has an event planned for his visit to Trinidad and Tobago. But nevertheless, I don't think it's the first time he's coming to Trinidad. But nevertheless, the Trinidad and Tobago Postal Corporation, TTPost, is advising that DHL shipment or shipping operation to and from Canada was suspended effectively June 20th. This is due to ongoing labor action and implementation of new legislation, Bill C-58, which restricts DHL Express shipping operation. The company explained that as its Hummingbird Express International Courier service relies on the DHL for international shipping, the suspension directly impacts its ability to offer the service of shipping destination or dispatch from Canada. So it seems like we have another problem there, viewers. But nevertheless, bear with TTPost. I am hoping that they're going to look for some other routes or some other airline to fast service. Nevertheless, we always had some problem with shipping, always in Trinidad and Tobago. Always. Ever since I know myself, there has been problems, cancellation, you can't get this, you can't get that, it is overpriced. But we hope that will be sorted out with this new administration. So, current affairs. Now, viewers, several members of Parliament from the People's National Movement have since challenged the United National Congress, UNC-led coalition government, to produce evidence of wrongdoing in the Community-Based Environmental Protection and Enhancement Program. Aruca Lopino, MP Marvin Gonzalez, claimed the government had been making allegations against former government officials and public officers about the procurement of contracts for the social program without proper evidence.
Most of these contracts were extended by 2 and 3 years, and the PNM government honored those contracts. All of these contracts. So it is simply not true for anyone to say at this point in time that the PNM government did anything similar like that. It has never happened. The PNM government honored all of these contracts, even though they were extended on the cost of the 2015 general elections. They have not offered one single of evidence to suggest any wrongdoing on the part of any public official. Not one iota of evidence. It is just people just spewing nonsense to mislead the public, but they have not shown whether or not the public procurement law has been breached. Of course, it has not been breached, because everything that was done with board approval, with the approval of the executive of CEPEP, all right, and with all of the approvals and the requirements within the public procurement law.
Now, viewers, nothing that many CEPEP workers are single parents. Gonzalez questioned the timing of the move, which they pointed out coincide with the end of the school term.
As a result of that singular action of CEPEP, over 10,000 employees within the organization have been placed on the breadline. Interestingly, this has happened as we bring an end to the school term, where a lot of our mothers and single parents are depending on a simple wage to feed their families, to send their children to school, etc.
We can come back to Gonzalez, but hold on, Trinidad and Tobago. Gonzalez also stated that the PNM has gathered a legal team that will be considering all legal options available to the contractor and workers.
PNM is currently assembling a team of senior attorneys, lawyers, to defend all of the contractors that have been, as well as the 10,000 employees who are employed within the organization and the program. We're assembling a team of attorneys to offer free legal representation to all of the contractors and all of the employees to ensure that the government is stopped dead in their tracks from proceeding with this very wicked and what we believe illegal act. It will be a class action type of lawsuit, but of course we cannot go into any details with respect to the strategy. But the attorneys are looking at all of the legal avenues that are available.
Now, viewers, Beckel stated that it is the PNM's position is to do everything necessary to protect the interests of the contractor/workers.
This is consistent with a certain pattern of behavior of the UNC government, whether it be the WASA CEO, WASA senior management, the governor of the central bank, several workers in the land settlement agency, and our information, they're also going for the URP workers as well as the reforestation workers. So this is consistent. This is not unusual. This is expected, but the bottom line is that we have had a meeting this morning, and PNM in opposition, the government would have been there during the time that these contracts were issued. Our position is we will do what is necessary in order to protect the interests of the contractors as well as the interests of the workers.
Now, Trinidad and Tobago, I understand everything. I understand all that. Now, where was Marvin Gonzalez when the cabinet took its decision to close down Petrotrin refinery? Where was Marvin Gonzalez? Where was Faris Al-Rawi? Penny couldn't say anything that time. But where was this legal team that they're putting together now for CEPEP contractors and workers? Where was this legal team? And where was this individual back then when the cabinet, the PNM cabinet, took the decision to close down the refinery? Where was these ministers and them that bumping their gum now? Where were they? I have a video to show all here. But probably in the second 15 minutes of the program, you'll get the video. Where was these individuals? According to Barry Padarat, Gonzalez, Minister of Public Utilities, hired a failed CEO from Barbados. That was okay to bring him in the country and give him $100,000. No problem. Okay. From, I believe it's a couple of months he worked for. What took place in Wassa? The same Marvin Gonzalez, who told he took a 40% increase in salary, but telling you to take out your children one time for the month while he got an increase. All of a sudden now, Marvin, and together with his teammate ministers, wants to get legal teams put together to support CEPEP contractor and the workers. But, excuse, where was these ministers when the PNM cabinet took the decision to close down the refinery? Thousands of workers went home. How come they didn't decide to form no legal team to support these workers when their cabinet took the decision to close down the refinery? Where was Marvin? Where was Faris? Where was Penny? Where was the rest of ministers who bumping their gum? You have the video? Trinidad and Tobago, listen to this video.
In a little while, you are going to hear the persons on the other side talk about things like who is going to operate the refinery? What is the process? What is this? What is that? When they, without any consultation with the public or anyone, they had NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. Under oath, Wilfred Espinay, the chairman of Petrotrin at the time, the all man, he said under oath in the court proceedings, industrial court proceedings, and I'm saying this now because I was present, Mr. Speaker, of Industrial Relations Offense, IRO 35 of 2018, when questioned by the union's lawyers as to who made the decision to shut down the refinery and send all the workers home, the question was asked, did the board make the decision? And he said no. The question was asked, did you make the decision, sir? He said no. And when the question was asked a third time, who made the decision to shut down the Petrotrin refinery and send everybody home? He said, the cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago, led by Keith Christopher Rowley at the time, made the decision. The cabinet.
So Trinidad and Tobago, where was Marvin Gonzalez? Where was Penelope Beckles? Where was the PNM cabinet? Where were they? How come they didn't bring no legal team forward? Who shut down the refinery? The cabinet. Let me tell you something. Back in April, in 2024, I believe it's April, don't hold me to the month, but in 2024, when Guyana dropped the gas price, when Barbados dropped the gas price, the Keith Rowley cabinet administration took the decision upon themselves to increase the gas price in Trinidad and Tobago. Who took the decision? Not NP. Who took the decision? Not no oil company. Who took the decision? The PNM cabinet. Guyana dropped the price. I highlighted on the show. Guyana dropped the gas price. Barbados dropped their gas price. Trinidad and Tobago raised their gas price. You know when that was? Remember when Ukraine and Russia had their war in 2024? That is when that happened in Trinidad and Tobago. What did the Minister of Finance do to all you? Well, you know, because of the war, we decided to raise the gas price. I don't remember that. So where was this same so-called team now trying to put lawyers together for CEPEP contractor and CEPEP workers? Who took the decision to send home the refinery workers? Run that one more time. I'll listen carefully.
In a little while, you are going to hear the persons on the other side talk about things like who is going to operate the refinery, what is the process, what is this, what is that. When they, without any consultation with the public or anyone, they had NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. Under oath, Wilfred Espinay, the chairman of Petrotrin at the time, the all man, he said under oath in the court proceedings, industrial court proceedings, and I'm saying this now because I was present, Mr. Speaker, of Industrial Relations Offense, IRO 35 of 2018, when questioned by the union's lawyers as to who made the decision to shut down the refinery and send all the workers home. The question was asked, did the board make the decision? And he said no. The question was asked, did you make the decision, sir? He said no. And when the question was asked a third time, who made the decision to shut down the Petrotrain refinery and send everybody home? He said, the cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago, led by Keith Christopher Rowley at the time, made the decision. The cabinet.
Trinidad and Tobago. So when you're here, they bumping their gum. I just watch a man laugh. And then I will bring the truth through video clips and through documents to you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. So when you hear that talking about legal team, ask them who fired. Many of the Petrotrain workers say they work in CEPEP. They work in CEPEP. They might go come out and bomb their gum, you know? No, they might come out and bomb their gum. Let me tell you something. All you know, I just bring it real to all you. Hence the reason why I name my program Real Talk with Saieed. Because I am Saieed and what you're getting is real. So all of you who bumping all the gum, take that and swallow it now. Swallow it now. A lot of refinery workers, some work in CEPEP, some home, some had to strain on another job. Where was Marvin? Where was Penny? Where was Al-Rawi? Oh, were they part of the cabinet? Ask yourself that. Trinidad and Tobago, we are going for a short commercial break, but when we come back, Padara defends CEPEP firing. More when we return.
We'll be right back.
When life throws you a curveball and you need a clear path forward, trust Real Talk Wrecking Service to get you back on track. Whether you're stuck on the roadside or dealing with an unexpected breakdown, our 24/7 wrecking service is just one call away. Fast response, reliable towing, and a team that's got your back. At Real Talk Wrecking Service, we don't just tow, we rescue. Real Talk Wrecking Service, your lifeline on the road to recovery.
Real Talk Financing is offering you 5% on a fixed deposit for 5 years and over with upfront interest. Contact our central office at 238-6716 or our San Fernando office at 242-9944. You don't want to miss this great opportunity. Invest today and watch your investment work for you.
Tired of wasting precious time at the bank applying for a loan, only to be denied? We understand your frustration. Here at Real Talk Group of Companies, we take a different approach. Contact Saieed, Managing Director of Real Talk Group of Companies and licensed moneylender at 238-6716, 242-7690 or 339-1670. Feel free to visit our office at number 14 Carney Savannah Road, Chaguanas, or number 132 Superior Road, Victoria Village, San Fernando.
At Real Talk Studios, we dedicate our time to highlight the glaring issues we face within our community. Catch us live every Wednesday between 7 to 8 p.m. Real Public Concern. Because your concerns are meant to be heard. Send your email to realpublicconcerns@gmail.com.
Welcome back.
So welcome back to Real Talk viewers. Minister of Public Utilities Barry Patharan has told fired CEPEP workers that the government will put policies in place to empower them beyond cutting grass for the rest of their lives. He said more sustainable jobs are coming and told the PNM to refrain from using the former CEPEP workers for political convenience.
CEPEP, under my watch as a line minister, will not be a PNM party group. It must go back to its moorings and also evolve into a more sustainable program. And we intend to partner with ministries such as the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Housing, and the Ministry of Community Development. CEPEP must be a transitionary organization to get people into more sustainable jobs. And therefore, the company, we have been reviewing its activities, its mandates, and therefore what we will seek to do is to ensure that the company returns to its original moorings to get people in more sustainable jobs.
Now viewers, on June 27, the government terminated the contracts of hundreds of CEPEP contractors, with the position claiming result in more than 10,000 workers losing their jobs. He said, this is about empowering persons to have a better quality of life.
CEPEP means community enhancement, and therefore we must empower the communities. So when I hear about the mothers who need to put food on their tables, buy school books, that is why the government's thrust, this government's thrust, is to ensure that we have the laptop program, that we can have affordable food prices. So it is not about keeping people in the mindset of cutting grass for the rest of their lives. It is about empowering them and empowering their children to have a better quality of life, and not to use CEPEP as a political pawn to have persons go to political meetings, wear a red jersey, wave a balize for a meager small fee at the end of the month, when senior party officials of the PNM continue to walk away with large, hefty salaries and contracts on the backs of the poor people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Now viewers, referencing the legal clinic held by the opposition leader yesterday in Couva for the fired contractors, Patharan asked where this energy was when the government was in power and other workers lost their job.
I want to call on the PNM who is engaged in their own subterfuge, that while you remained silent when WASA workers went home, when TSCT workers went home, when Petrotrin workers went home, where was the outcry then? Today, the United National Congress government is ensuring that we seek the interests of workers and the public's purse through the taxpayer. And therefore, I call on all members of the PNM to declare your interest. Declare your interest in CEPEP and do not use CEPEP contractors and their employees for political expediency.
So now viewers, however, many workers who went to the company's headquarters in St. Madeleine seeking answers yesterday were left disappointed, feeling betrayed and uncertain about their future. Visham Maraj, 50, father of three, said, He had been employed as a CEPEP laborer half his life and is now left with nothing. While June, a single mother, complained that she was also the main breadwinner in her household.
Yeah, no, what to do? Because like everything shut down me. The breadwinner in the house lost, so everybody lost. I was the breadwinner, I didn't have to bring in a dollar, and today I don't have a work, so everybody had to hold on.
Because I have my bills to pay, I have my insurance to pay. I'm only doing this to people right about now. School goes in and this is the time I'll do this. I have to buy books. And now is not the time to be doing this.
Kola, good night.
Good night, Mr. Saeed. Great program, and this country is corrupted to the marrow in the bone, and we had to fix it. With you presenting this program, it will fix, because people are rising up. I mean, not in protest and things, but when they meet, they are talking, so they are angry, and things will fix. Anyway, the residents of the Piscavay Junction, St. Julian Village, had a quiet weekend. In a very, very long while, this was a very quiet weekend for the residents, and they attribute it to you and your program. So many thanks and gratitude to you and your program. You highlighted it, and we hope that it will continue. But what they are asking for and wanted to be highlighted on your program is for this Eli man, the transport minister, to go to Parliament and make a recommendation to slap a $10,000 fine on these miscreants with the vehicles that blasted music all over this country, and confiscation of their equipment. That is what they are asking for. Well, of course, they have no voice in the country, Mr. Said. You are the voice for the voiceless and voice for these people. So they are asking you to please highlight it for them, for the residents, and many. It's happening all over the country,
Yes.
Not only here, but people don't know where to go to voice their concerns. And when you meet people, they talk about it, but they know, I don't have the free to call you, or they can't talk when they call on the telephone or whatever. So they're asking for you to please champion this cause, because nobody's going to do it, And they want that man, Elijah, instead of he protecting the merit point system. And I didn't know that the lady, Ingerfield, and him are cousins. I didn't know that they're from the same community, the Syrian 1% community. I never know that. So that is why he's protecting them now and taking that he want that to go to Parliament. He want to continue to enrich these no good on them. Mr. Sai, God bless you. They extend this. God bless you, your staff, and you keep up the great work you are doing to fix this country, Mr. Sai. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. In the coming weeks, I will highlight noise pollution in bars and across communities. Now, I'll tell you something. You want to keep your party? Not a problem. Your party is a one-night thing. I have friends who have bars, and they know how to do it. You have a party Saturday night. From Wednesday, you will start blasting music. Wednesday is not the party. The party is Friday night. Now, when you cooperate with the villagers will support you. But when you do not cooperate with the villagers will shut you down. I have friends with bars. If they have a party Friday night, they make an announcement, let the village know what's going on. The village will support you your Friday night. But don't tell me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday you're playing, and then you're going back Saturday, Sunday, Monday. No, it don't work like that. You will get shut down. And I will make sure it happen. So EMA is working out some plans. I am giving them a little month or two to put their stuff together, and then I will highlight it. But noise pollution, it's sickening in Trinidad. It's sickening. But we gonna get it done. Real talk, when I say we getting it done, we getting it done. The merit point system, I'm working on something for that. Don't up your head. I'm working on something for that. Viewers, we are going for a short commercial break, but when we come back, no pension for Stuart. How sad. Nevertheless.
We'll be right back.
When life throws you a curveball and you need a clear path forward, trust Real Talk Wrecking Service to get you back on track. Whether you're stuck on the roadside or dealing with an unexpected breakdown, our 24/7 wrecking service is just one call away. Fast response, reliable towing, and a team that's got your back. At Real Talk Wrecking Service, we don't just tow, we rescue. Real Talk Wrecking Service, your lifeline on the road to recovery.
Real Talk Financing is offering you 5% on a fixed deposit for 5 years and over with upfront interest. Contact our central office at 238-6716 or our San Fernando office at 242-9944. You don't want to miss this great opportunity. Invest today and watch your investment work for you.
Tired of wasting precious time at the bank applying for a loan, only to be denied? We understand your frustration. Here at Real Talk Group of Companies, we take a different approach. Contact Saieed, Managing Director of Real Talk Group of Companies and licensed moneylender at 238-6716, 242-7690 or 339-1670. Feel free to visit our office at number 14 Carney Savannah Road, Chaguanas, or number 132 Superior Road, Victoria Village, San Fernando.
At Real Talk Studios, we dedicate our time to highlight the glaring issues we face within our community. Catch us live every Wednesday between 7 to 8 p.m. Real Public Concern. Because your concerns are meant to be heard. Send your email to realpublicconcerns@gmail.com.
Welcome back.
So Trinidad and Tobago, there will be no prime ministerial pension of $87,000 for Stuart Young. It comes after Prime Minister Pension Amendment Bill was passed in the Senate on Monday. Legal Affairs Minister Saddam Hussein described the pension for Stuart as unjust and prejudiced. He was speaking at the UNC's first conference on Sunday.
Mr. Imbert stood in the Parliament confidently and loudly and said, so what if a 5-second Prime Minister served there, he should be entitled to the pension of $87,000? We are saying absolutely not. Now, Minister Imbert also raised a point and said, listen, we are going to make people penniless in this country with respect to passing this Prime Minister's pension bill. I want to put on the public's record today that nobody will be left pensionless.
Now, Trinidad and Tobago, before I move forward, I want you all to understand something. A Prime Minister is selected by the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago that leads a party. Kate Rowley led the PNM administration into the general election, and he was supported by the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago when they won the general election. So the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago choose Kate Rowley to be the leader of the PNM administration, and the Prime Minister for Trinidad and Tobago. Now, Stuart Young was appointed the Prime Minister by the outgoing Prime Minister, Keith Rowley. Stuart Young was not selected by the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago to be the Prime Minister. I want to let you understand the difference. We, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, get to choose, not another minister appointing another minister as Prime Minister. It don't work like that. It do not work like that. So therefore, in reality speaking, he has no place in collecting a pension as a Prime Minister. He was appointed by an outgoing Prime Minister. He was not appointed by the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Always remember that. Don't be fooled, citizens. That is why I am here for the last 8 years to make sure that you are educated in your land and not taken advantage of. The bill introduced two significant changes. Firstly, it stipulates that a person must serve as a Prime Minister for a minimum period of 1 year to be eligible for a pension. Secondly, it introduced a proprietary pension system, linking the benefit directly to the duration of service. Listen to this.
According to Clause 4(1) of the bill, it says that if the Prime Minister served for not less than 1 year of the date of his appointment, he gets 1/3 of the highest annual rate of salary. If he serves for not less than 2 years from the date of the appointment, he gets 1/2 of the salary. If he serves for not less than 3 years from the date of the appointment, he gets 2/3 of the highest annual salary. And if he serves for not less than 4 years, which is essentially the full term, he gets the entire pension.
So you heard that, Trinidad and Tobago? Don't be fooled by those in authority who wants to do this and wants to do it and wants to do the next. No, the man who appoints Stuart Young was the man who have been telling you all for 9 years, tighten your belt. Tighten your belt. Or forget that or what? And their colleagues laughed when gas price went up, where the cabinet took the decision to raise the gas price. Not the Prime Minister, not NP, not Petrotrin, no, not Amoco, not BP. You know who? The cabinet. So I want you to remember that. Call good night. Hello, you there? Nevertheless. Now, viewers, the move to amend the Prime Minister's Pension Act was not triggered by former Prime Minister Stuart Young, but by the recent 50% increase in the salary and therefore pension for the Prime Minister, which made it a bigger burden on taxpayers. Who had to pay that? All you had to pay that. So sadly, Attorney General John Jeremy, Attorney General John Jeremy, as he contributed to the Prime Minister's Pension Amendment Bill 2025 in the Senate on Monday. He said the law that is now adjusted was in accordance with the parent law passed in 1969. Listen and understand.
Now, in 1969, it would not have been a tremendous burden on taxpayers because salaries were $2,000 or $3,000 a month, even at the top end. Exactly. That's a lot. $2,000 or $3,000. That's at the very top end.
Now, viewers, drawing reference to the Hansard, which serves as the official record for what is said and done in the Parliament. One senator asked, what happened if someone served as Prime Minister for a day? This was the Attorney General response.
But you'd had a prime minister in office in 69 who'd been there for 13 years. And it was the sense of the Senate and the House that was inconceivable. In 76, the Republican Constitution came. There was no revisiting of this particular amendment because the drain on the consolidated fund was, relatively speaking, bearable.
Now, viewers, he mentioned that the last report of the Salary Review Commission, the SRC, boy, let me tell you something. All I can understand is more than if I read it. Listen to this.
The point is that the Prime Minister was the only person in this country to get, at that time, what amounted to a 50% increase in salary. That is a fact. And there was an understandable political outcry. And my learned friends on the opposition benches know that took place. Once you had that increase in pay, there would necessarily be an increase in pension.
Trinidad and Tobago, he said, breaking it down for you, he said, for the first time, the Prime Minister's salary was more than the President's salary of $81,170. Who collected that pension? Who collected that pension? The man who tell all you to tighten all your belt. Every month go by, and every time he had a meeting, tighten your belt, tighten your belt. I wonder if the SRC people tightening the belt. How much time all you had to bore a hole in all your belt? Ask all yourself that. Let me tell you something. I didn't come here to make friends with all you. I come here to educate you. Because the same people who wants to play Duncy and say Saieed bashing, them is the same people are trying to get the pothole fixed in front of their house. The very same people. But nevertheless, it's not about race, it's not about political party, it's not about who is white and who is black. It's about living in Trinidad and Tobago and we the citizens becoming one for a better service in our country. Why? Because we paying tax. Stop fighting the race talk. Stop fighting the political talk. Because when you go in the market, the ministers going in the same market. When all eating duck and bus up shut, it's the same thing the minister eating duck and bus up shut. So don't let it fool all you. I here to make sure that doesn't happen. So viewers, we are going for a short commercial break, but when we come back, Senate President, hands off independence when we return.
We'll be right back.
When life throws you a curveball and you need a clear path forward, trust Real Talk Wrecking Service to get you back on track. Whether you're stuck on the roadside or dealing with an unexpected breakdown, our 24/7 wrecking service is just one call away. Fast response, reliable towing, and a team that's got your back. At Real Talk Wrecking Service, we don't just tow, we rescue. Real Talk Wrecking Service, your lifeline on the road to recovery.
Real Talk Financing is offering you 5% on a fixed deposit for 5 years and over with upfront interest. Contact our central office at 238-6716 or our San Fernando office at 242-9944. You don't want to miss this great opportunity. Invest today and watch your investment work for you.
Tired of wasting precious time at the bank applying for a loan, only to be denied? We understand your frustration. Here at Real Talk Report Companies, we take a different approach. Contact Saieed, Managing Director of Real Talk Report Companies and licensed moneylender at 238-6716, 242-7690 or 339-1670. Feel free to visit our office at number 14 Carney Savannah Road, Chaguanas, or number 132 Superior Road, Victoria Village, San Fernando.
At Real Talk Studios, we dedicate our time to highlight the blaring issues we face within our community. Catch us live every Wednesday between 7 to 8 p.m. Real Public Concern. Because your concerns are meant to be heard. Send your email to realpublicconcerns@gmail.com.
Welcome back.
So welcome back to Real Talk viewers. Remember, we at Real Talk Financing, we are offering you 5% on fixed deposit. Like I said, viewers, the board is thinking about closing it off, but nevertheless, as long as it is running, I will let you know that we are offering the highest interest rate in Trinidad and Tobago with fixed deposit. Check your banks. Check your credit unions. No one else is giving you 5% with your interest up front. Nobody's doing that. They are afraid. If you're solid and you're grounded, why are you not doing that? I am making sure. No, well, here it is. UNC have a slogan that if UNC win, everybody wins, right? That's not my slogan, that's their slogan. With me is that I am making sure that you get what you expected. 5% on interest up front. Let your money now, Trinidad and Tobago, work for you. You've already worked for your money. Good? You save it in a bank or a credit union, some part of Trinidad and Tobago. But the thing is that money working for you? No, it's not. It's not. But at Real Talk Financing, when you open a fixed deposit of 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 50,000, 20,000, you're getting your interest up front. Now, the more money you invest is the more money you get up front, you know. So if you invest $200,000, that is 50,000 you're getting upfront interest. If you invest 300,000, that is $75,000 you're getting. Where in Trinidad and Tobago are you going to get that kind of interest? Nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. And that I could stand on. Hence the reason why I just tell you about that. I could stand on that. Because why? You ain't getting it nowhere. Nowhere, nowhere, nowhere. And on top of that now, Real Talk Financing, you're looking for a loan, is not a problem. We're here to lend. We're here to lend. So, back to the Parliament. Harassment and intimidation directed at independent senators will not be tolerated in the Parliament. The statement comes from the President, Wade Mark, who was speaking during Monday's sitting. Mark issued a point. I'll say that again. Mark issued a pointed rebuke to those targeting members of the upper house over their votes, particularly ahead of the debate on the controversial Prime Minister's Pension Amendment Bill 2025.
When words or actions cross the line,
into harassment, intimidation, or attempts to shame senators for how they vote, or pressure them to vote in a particular way. That is something entirely different, and it will not be tolerated.
Now, viewers, he said, senators have a constitutional right to speak and vote freely, and warned that any breach of this freedom would trigger consequences.
This House, and certainly this chair, will act firmly to protect the privileges, rights, and immunities of this Senate collectively, and each senator individually. That protection will be exercised to the full extent of the Senate's authority, and if necessary, the appropriate avenues for redress will be pursued without hesitation.
Now, viewers, Acting Commissioner of Police Kurt Simon is now denying report that a file on a probe into DCP Suzette Martin in the matter involving the arrest of businessman Brent Thomas has gone missing. Simon stated that the investigation is proceeding as planned, as he maintained that no request was made by Martin on the matter.
No file in this investigation, anything touching this investigation is missing. And I saw something where somebody said the DCP and I requested that I produce a file to her. There has not been any such requests coming my way.
Now, Trinidad and Tobago, this is a serious issue here. But with the probe underway, questions remain unanswered over whether Martin will be suspended. Sources disclosed that Martin remained on active duty up to yesterday. Now, however, viewers, figures say that the commissioner should address the matter publicly to suppress concerns over fairness in their treatment of officers.
It raises again the whole question in the eyes of the public that is there sacred cows in the police service, whilst your commissioner, your former commissioner, was not certainly a sacred cow. The longer you remain silent, you are eroding any public faith in your operational integrity. Because remember, they set a standard with former Commissioner Ola Christopher Harewood, which they are now applying selectively.
So now, Trinidad and Tobago, let me tell you something. To be honest with you, when they were investigating the Commissioner of Police, Ola Christopher, they take her off her duty. So if DCP, as Deputy Commissioner of Police, is being investigated, my thing is, why is she still in active duty? Why? So the new Commissioner of Police now has to come out and tell Trinidad and Tobago, why is this woman still there? Now, I have nothing against the woman, but fairness in TTPost is accountable. And all the Trinidad and Tobago police officers are looking on. They may like her or may not like her. But the thing is, the former commissioner was under investigation and they moved her. So if a deputy commissioner of police is under an investigation, why is she still there? Fear is fear. And that is what Darius is saying. And I could understand that. Fairness across the board, that is accountability. So the new commissioner of police, let me tell you something, address the officers because they are concerns. So viewers, we are out for tonight, but nevertheless, when you're doing something you love, Time is flying. There's a rerun of this program tomorrow from 11:30 to 12:30, and we'll be right back on another night live for Real Talk with Saieed. Until then, good night.